And that one there, another rendition penned by the late Winsford Joker Devine. Too Young to Soca by Machel Montano, changing up the tempo a little bit. And we get into now the annual Tech Hub Island Summit, which takes place from July 5th to 7th under the theme Now and Beyond. This is all under the purview of AMCHAM T&T in a bid to drive the technological and digital advancement locally. AMCHAM has hosted or has a host of speakers lined up, including personnel from Facebook, Google, and IBM. Joining us to tell us a lot more about the Tech Hub Island Summit this morning, we have Nirad Tewarie, who is the CEO of AMCHAM T&T, and Karen McSween, who is the Marketing Manager of Business Segments of Group Marketing and Communications. Good morning to you both, Karen and Nirad.
Good morning.
Nirad, I think I did a combination of Nirad and Tewarie there.
A little bit, that's okay.
So this is the third year, the third installation of this event. Tell us what's different. I know last year you had to make a massive shift based on the pandemic and going virtual, and it changed the format of the event. What have you decided to do differently about this year's Tech Hub?
Sure. So good morning to all your viewers, and thanks for having us. So we started in 2019 with an in-person event, and the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. In 2020, we intended to continue that momentum, and we planned a great event, and we had to pivot because, of course, we closed and everything. The country did, and so did we. So we did a series of webinars last year. This year, we're back to a single event. It's spread over 3 days, as you mentioned, the 5th to the 7th of July. And we were able, because of the virtual nature, we're able to bring together a number of speakers from, around the world. And we have the VP of Civil Rights at Facebook, Roy Austin Jr. We have the head of the talent management at IBM. We have a number of speakers who are coming to discuss a variety of topics. So we're starting sort of where you left off, I think, with Minister West. The opening panel is on design thinking. So how do we diagnose a problem and try and come to solutions, understanding that you are dealing with many moving parts to get to the outcome that you want. Then we're going to fintech, and then we're going to the future of work. We're going to your digital ROI. We're looking at the digital transformation of governments, and we're looking at hope for the future, where we're highlighting some locals who are doing some innovative work in the tech sector. Because at the end of the day, the conference is very, very important to stimulate the discussion, come up with some solutions and so on. But really, it's part of building a tech sector in Trinidad and Tobago. And I mean, I really want to thank Republic Bank for coming on board. Republic Bank, before we even had a conference, signed a 2-year title sponsorship. And Karen and her team were instrumental in that, as was doing Howell. And, that gave us the platform to go ahead and take some risks and engage speakers. And PwC was one of our original platinum sponsors, as was Digicel. And they've both been with us now for 3 years. And we're very, very grateful. And we're working with the IDB as well, who is supporting, as is the Guardian Group as gold sponsors. So, I mean, without our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to spend the time and the effort to get the quality of speakers that we have. But we expect that it'll be a fantastic event.
Karen, tell us who we are aiming to reach with this particular summit, now taking place on an annual basis, and especially within the context of this pandemic. Who is your ideal audience for this?
Well, our ideal audience primarily would be persons who have an interest in tech and recognize the need for technology adoption within Trinidad and Tobago. We know that technology adoption is not a nice to have anymore, it's a necessity. And this is one of the things that attracted us to this particular conference. We are hoping that both private and public sector see the need for digital adoption, see the need for it to happen sooner rather than later. And that they come to this conference open-minded, looking for opportunities, looking to collaborate and to really make a difference. Now, there are a lot of people within Trinidad and Tobago. We have a lot of innovative, creative people as well who I think would be really attracted to this conference. The kind and caliber of the speakers speak for themselves. And I think having those, if you have an interest in tech, you think it's going to have an impact on your business or it's going to have an impact on the country, I think this is the summit for you. And so I think it has a little space for everybody.
And Nirad, what have you ascertained to date over the last couple of years has come out of it? What are the gains you think the summit has made over the past couple of years? And how are you hoping to contribute? As you said, as you referenced the minister's conversation earlier, what are you hoping to contribute to this process of digitization or transformation?
Well, that's a big one. I mean, we're hoping to really catalyze and stimulate the development of the tech sector in Trinidad and Tobago on the one hand. So we are very, very clear that Trinidad and Tobago can develop a technology sector that is a sector that earns and that is export oriented by its very nature and therefore an FX earner and can become a significant employer and income generator for the country. So that's one. And the conference, the summit, is our way of trying to build a community. And the community will be not just local people, but local and international people with whom we would have come into contact and who may have an interest in assisting us being the country, in that journey to build the tech sector. What the conference will also do, it connects people and it exposes some of the newer entities to some of the established local businesses so that you are creating a marketplace in the conference itself. Now, of course, that's a little easier when we're in person and people can meet, but we're using a platform and you can check out the conference at techislands.net. We're using a platform where people could set their own meetings and get to know one another if they have an interest in each other's services, either buying or selling or just discussing. And then the third thing is that we are hoping that we can engage in discussions and bring insights that will assist in the digital transformation of government and show that the private sector is a partner and we want to support that effort. And we already are. And I think, we must point out and give kudos where kudos are due, that the Ministry of Digital Transformation has set up an advisory committee to the cabinet appointed committee of ministers on digital transformation, and there are 2 private sector reps on it, and we have 1 rep on that in the person of the chair of our digital transformation committee, Ms. Zia Payton. So we are doing that, and the conference gives a chance to showcase successes as well as what is possible based on best practice from elsewhere.
And Karen, maybe you could tell us a little bit about how entrepreneurs have taken up the opportunity to participate in this, especially, startups. Do you see them participating as much as perhaps the bigger companies, larger firms, more established ones, or deemed successful? Do you feel like the smaller ones who may not have all the resources or the know-how, do you see them really taking up the opportunity so far?
Oh, I definitely do. I think, coming to a conference like this is where you actually have the ability to collaborate with people who have been in the field a lot longer than you have, and they have experience that can assist. So yes, I understand startups would have some challenges. There are many things that startups have to overcome, but the main thing is that once you start to collaborate, once you start to network, once you start to leverage the existing knowledge that exists within Trinidad and Tobago and beyond, I think they will have great value for them. As a small business, you cannot expect to find and do everything on your own. And when you have all like-minded people coming together with a single purpose of, digitizing Trinidad and Tobago or really having that impact, I think it would be really good for startups to have that conversations. It may not be that they will be able to move right away into implementing what they would have learned at the conference, but I'm sure the contacts, the know-how would definitely redound to some benefit to them.
Karen, tell us how folks can register and take part in this event coming up next month.
Well, I think Nirad will answer this question better than I, but I know there's a digital component. Nirad?
Nirad?
Yes, you can sign up online at techislands.net, and the agenda is there. All the speakers are there. The information that you need, and of course, if you need anything, we have our AMCHAM contacts. If you're having any difficulty, what I would say, just to jump back to the previous question you posed to Karen Adi, is that because we're digital this year, two things are happening. We're able to work with our partners to make more spots available as part of their sponsorship, and they are reaching out. So I know Republic is reaching out to some of the companies that they work with and some of their customers to make spots available. And then secondly, the cost is much less than it usually is. So I mean, you know, if you're a non-member, it's 2,000 TT dollars for a 3-day conference, which really is, I mean, pretty affordable. And if you're in business to make money, it should not affect you to any large extent. So check out techislands.net, and all the information is there. And we look forward to welcoming people to our conference, and you too, Adine, so that you could then report on what you see and how we are impacting the digital transformation of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much, Nirad and Karen. We appreciate you all taking the time to chat with us, especially on the heels of our interview with Minister West. And we head straight along now to some more of your submissions for our Trinbago Unice. And this one comes from Ken Mahes, and he says it's the flower of the breadfruit tree. See, I love these. I love when you all send us these flowers, because most of us don't really know what they look like. Yeah, so thank you. We're just so caught up with the fruit and the actual produce we get from it, right? Thank you very much for that, Ken. And now for an image of a white rooster hanging out in St. James. Thank you so much for this one, viewer. We appreciate the reminders that there's all kinds of life that live in urban centers as well. Thank you so much. We'll be back.